Okay, here we are.
Hello, this is Robert and Suzanne.
And we are doing the
Tabletop
tabletop
theater
conversation.
conversation.
Yeah. And we're coming to you live from the ocean's edge. We're out on a walk,
Yes.
sitting on a bench in the sun.
The sky is blue and you can see
Mhm.
the moon.
Where?
Still.
Oh, yep,
Yeah.
you can.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if you look over your shoulder or up, you'll see it right up there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. We're right here. We can see right out over
Mm-hmm.
the oceans all around us. Actually, just about.
Yep.
And oh, it feels so good.
Mm-hmm.
And today we are wanting to talk about habituation.
That's a good word.
Yeah, isn't that it's a mouthful, isn't it?
Uh-huh. So we'll have to let them know what habituation is.
Yeah, it's a very good thing.
Uh-huh.
Habituation is something that I'm becoming to understand more thoroughly.
And
Are
not just as a word, but as an expression of what we're wanting to
Yeah.
be involved with.
Habituation is usually where you've had to stop a normal rhythm in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you come back to it, you don't come back to it till you can come back to it organically.
Mm-hmm.
That it doesn't come back like an addiction or a
Mm.
habit.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come back as a have to kind of thing,
Mm.
or get up and go. Make yourself important
Yeah.
or useful. It's not that at all. It's an organic conversation between your body and
Mhm.
you, and your spirit. And
Yeah.
it's like your body, mind, and spirit have to be aligned before habituation starts.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a signal that that's happening to you.
Yeah.
And it's really a wonderful way to become rhythmed with your own numbers, not someone else's.
And the nice thing is that the feeling that it engenders is one of organicness. So it's really an organic process if you relax into it
Mm-hmm.
and allow time to expand, to slow down,
Mm-hmm.
so the space around you can expand,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel you have more room. And in that room, you can hear better, you can think better, you can feel more. It's just really wonderful.
Well, it's really, really amazing. But the world after the pandemic has been forced into an habituation.
Mm-hmm.
That part of the world didn't want to move at the same rate speed as another part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
All of the world were facing into the pandemic,
Yeah.
and all of the world were being quarantined into their own pocket.
Yeah.
They were pocketed.
Mm-hmm.
But then how that happened and changed was different choices people made. Some wanted to stay pocketed in, and for all kinds of reasons not just of some of the political debatable things, but just an inner thing, and even maybe a physical thing,
Mm-hmm.
that they needed. That there is a time that was made that hasn't been made before
Mm-hmm.
for so many people
Yeah.
in the world until now. And so habituation is, it's like there was tried to be a force of things,
Mm-hmm.
but in it, at the end now, we're moving into a habituation.
Yeah, and that's what we're starting to see as of this today, as of this
Yeah.
week.
Some countries are gradually lowering the standards of what needs to be done
Mm-hmm.
for protection. They're also realizing that a lot of it has taken its cycle, which is what happens in habituation. The body naturally heals, and it heals itself.
Mm-hmm.
And the body doesn't, it changes its rhythm, because sometimes the illness is a sign of a rhythm need changing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we as contemplatives, we realize this more than maybe people that are forced into a daily budget, a daily source of income that has its own agenda.
Mm-hmm.
But even they have been forced into a new rhythm, and that's never happened. It's
Mm-mm.
never happened ever before.
Mm-mm.
Not in the whole world.
Mm-mm.
It's never happened, and that is an amazing thing to sit with. And
Yeah.
habituation is like, let's see, right before Christmas, a month before Christmas, um,
So we're talking
I had vertigo.
2021. Mm-hmm.
I
Mhm.
had a which I'd never had before, and within it, I was forced into a stillness that was actually helpful to me.
Mm-hmm.
I learned an incredible amount in that stillness, and even to do anything, I had to settle myself before I could move. I had
Mm-hmm.
to find an object, settle on it, then find another object to connect
Mm-hmm.
to settle on for the next part of the movement. I couldn't just do one movement like
A big sweeping movement.
a sweeping movement.
No.
Yes. Each movement was broken down, and in the breaking down of it, I had to slow down and sit with each tiny bit of the breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of what's happened in the world. We've all had a bit of vertigo that we've had
Yeah.
to all at once. Everything started spinning. We didn't feel safe in the world.
Everything felt topsy-turvy.
Topsy-turvy. Nothing was the way it should be. And that's what happens with vertigo.
Mhm.
And then I'd never had vertigo. So then I had to do that, and I had to actually do certain acupressure positions
Mm-hmm.
to actually help my body settle into this,
Mhm.
and it did. And it really remarkably healed and remarkably shifted. But the time that I was in it, it's funny, it had its wonderful parts and its not so wonderful. But the wonderful part was learning how to settle in each moment.
Yeah.
Day,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There is.
Settle in each moment.
Mm-hmm.
And the body really couldn't think of anything but that.
Yeah.
And so it was a real loss of tension that I experienced in the flow of my everyday life.
I love that, a loss of tension.
I know.
How many people would like that in their lives? Even though it was a strain in a different kind of way, but that strain was probably a balancing pull
Mm-hmm.
from the tension into the calm.
Yes. And,
So
and
it
I
helped.
needed it.
Mhm.
And that's kind of like what happened to the world when the pandemic, everybody was quarantined.
Mhm.
There was a scary part of it, and maybe, you couldn't just jump into anything anymore. Definite rhythm change.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some beautiful parts of it that we don't want to ever forget.
Yeah.
That it's why it came in some ways. It's not like somebody bountiful planned it, but somebody bountiful could handle it.
Uh-huh. I know.
And
we have
could actually change that.
Honey, look, we have an audience of 18 pigeons landing on the
Oh
railing.
my gosh, 18 pigeons.
I think it's
landing
one of
on
our
it.
largest audience today.
Oh, that is.
Yeah,
and
in
two-
person.
And
yeah.
2 little puppy dogs.
Uh-huh. So,
Very cute.
so this whole reasoning
Habituation.
of the habituation is really a
Oh, there's another
chance. Is a chance for people to
one. They're darling.
to sit in the pocket and realize
Yeah.
that they can come into an expanded sense of themselves in their own time,
Yeah.
and come into a different kind of rhythm.
And we didn't know we could do that.
Yeah.
We
So
didn't
it's
know
new.
that.
It's new to a
Like
lot
we
of people.
talked in the last one about time, that we didn't know there were pockets of time that we could actually dip into that we didn't know existed.
Yeah.
So now in habituation, after a while, the body starts healing.
Mm-hmm.
And because you have to slow down, it can heal.
Mm-hmm.
That habituation is when the body uses its own timing
Mm-hmm.
to create the forward movement. So instead of like we do in the world, okay, I've been sick 3 days, I got to get back to work.
Yeah. Hurry.
And I'll take a bunch of medicine and drugs to
It's
get
a-
me from here to there.
Yeah.
That's not habituation.
Uh-uh.
And in essence, it's not really healing.
Not really.
Because what the sickness or difficulty, the reason it arose was a reason.
Yeah.
And if you do not take that in and make it part of your own knowing, you are really throwing yourself back into the old cycle,
Uh-huh.
and then something bigger has to come to create that. But in habituation, you allow yourself, you can feel it. Oh, nope, I'm not ready for that, but I'm ready for this. So you do this, and then there's such a demand for you to be ready for that, but stay with it and allow your body. There'll be things that you didn't think you could do that the body is ready to do, actually, because you've changed your rhythm.
Yeah.
And so all at once, things that you haven't not been able to get to, all at once, they just move organically, and they look like they'd never move ever.
Yeah.
And that is, it's like in this time, if a person, they went shopping to entertain themselves, and we talked about that. But they really want to get into a different rhythm, a rhythm where, and they need to, of like meditation. Well, the time they save from the shopping will create the time they have for the meditation. And the shopping is less effective entertainingly because it's kind of nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And the exhaustion you have about doing it lifts away, and then there is energy and time that was hidden in a pocket, a secret pocket that you couldn't access before.
Yeah.
So in habituation, those pockets that you couldn't access become available.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like a person that has a vest on with hundreds of pockets on it, but you only think it has 2 pockets.
Yeah.
But the vest has lots of pockets, but you've never accessed them. You don't know that if you unthreaded the thing that looks like a false pocket, there really is a pocket there.
Yeah.
And so you think that all these pockets of time, like meditation or expressing voice, expressing through art, you think that those are pockets that are sewn up, and they're like pretend pockets. And you don't; those aren't real pockets for you.
Yeah.
What you find out in this time, that what you thought was a pocket is killing you. And the other pockets that have been sewn up start unthreading, and you have time to look in them.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's a good, because it's up. What I saw was like the pocket or the vest that has the 2 pockets that everyone's aware of, but and so people slip into the vest real quick because they're in a hurry. They have to go somewhere, so they slip the vest on very quickly, and they know those 2 pockets are there. They always see them. They're always present.
They're
But
easy
they're
to
always
get
slip-
to, and
but
they
they're
don't know how to think any,
And they just slip into the vest very quickly.
because they have so little time to think about anything else.
But if they took the vest off and looked on the inside, which is like looking at the inside of things, and all of a sudden that's where they see all those other pockets. There are 10 pockets on one side of the vest on the inside and 10 on the other. All of a sudden there are 20 pockets there that they had no idea existed. But because they take the time and they start looking through them, what's that going to give them? What are the treasures inside the time of those pockets?
I love that. Reminds me of a beautiful story called Pockets that I
Mhm.
read.
I love that.
That we collected that book, and I read. It was a story of a place, a woman who had lost her home, came to this village, and they were a very working, hard village, and they they were a no-nonsense village, and they didn't have time for stories or things of that sort, expression, creativity. And this woman, her job was to sew up things in this factory. And what she saw is that she had to sew up pockets. And so secretly, she started sewing stories inside the pockets of the people that in their very practical clothes. She started threading in beautiful brocade stories inside the pocket.
Yeah.
And so then when she gave them their jacket back, when they put their hands in, they could feel, almost like Braille, they could feel the stories. And it changed over time, the whole community.
Wow.
They became
Isn't
full
that
of stories.
lovely?
And the thing is, it's kind of like what's happening,
Uh-huh.
is that there is a threading happening that's putting new stories in all these pockets that are only functional,
Mm-hmm.
that this world runs on. You know, get up and get out there and you know, show you can do it kind of stories. But the thing is when you habituate, you start moving your fingers through these braille drawings of a sort of embroidery,
Uh-huh.
and you start finding that those stories feed you. And when you're fed and not starving, you have more time.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a huge a huge reason why expression is the future of this world.
Yeah, and I think of the surprise that they had when they reached into the pocket with that embroidery, and so it piques their curiosity. So when they pulled the pocket out to look at it, think of all that color that burst forward.
Yeah, because
in
they
their lives
didn't have any color.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's just incredible.
It is, and when I'm habituating, I'm finding that I'm not just running back into the same rhythms.
Mm-mm.
That I'm actually not as physically doing things. Like, I'm a great cleaner. I love to clean and keep things in order, and everybody comes to our house and they say they think it would be chaotic, but it's surprisingly not, because in our home we have to keep a certain order.
Mm-hmm.
And that order we do intuitively, but even that order hasn't been kept since this time. And
Mm-hmm.
but what I've been doing, I've been deep inside the pocket of creativity and expression, and we have published 2 books,
Mm-hmm.
because I could sit still and not move.
Mm-hmm.
So I could create collages, and I did a meditation collages that we put together in a book
Mm-hmm.
for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I've done that since the vertigo.
Yeah.
And then the next one was the yoga book. We
I
finished
love
it
that book.
completely.
Yeah.
And yoga, the appetite of movement.
I love that title, Appetite of Movement.
It's so true.
Uh-huh.
I found that after I had started that book and written it, I had this vertigo, and I was just finished my yoga, and when it started, and I was kind of nervous about entering. I thought, isn't that a joke? But then I did finish the book.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot about the absolute appetite for movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I think yoga's always kept me in touch with that and all the threads of it. It's not just sitting down to a yoga practice, but it's making all your movement yoga.
Yeah.
Making each stretch making more intentional, that stretch.
Yeah, become
Realizing that it is one of the so-called official
and it becomes a
yoga stretches.
a life rhythm. You
Yeah.
know. Yeah. It's not a compartmentalized piece.
Yeah,
It's just
the people that you hear that
crunching as they walk past.
That's people walking past us
With their
on the boardwalk
dogs
with
and
their dogs, all smiling.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
'cause it's a nice sunny day.
Yeah,
So,
it's a wonderful day.
yeah.
And the thing is, in the habituation, like this walking that I
Uh-huh.
did today, is
Mhm.
an habituation.
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't since Christmas, not until this week, yesterday, I haven't walked outside.
And we're talking now February 9th or 8th.
Yeah.
8th, I
I've
guess it
walked.
is.
I've done different things. I've done qigong
Mm-hmm.
in the house daily. Seems like I could keep my balance, a little way into the vertigo. I could, as it got better, I could
Yeah.
do something like qigong. I was kind of nervous about some of the yoga movements that might upset that balance. So
Uh-huh.
I stayed on my feet mostly, and then we used what we called a scoop that rotates.
Uh-huh.
You move the legs and it rotates the hips also.
Uh-huh.
So I did those 2 things to try to keep, but I didn't really get out and move. Sandra had fallen,
Uh-huh.
part of our family, on the ice, and was in the healing of that. And you watched that, and at that point I wasn't going to journey out.
Uh-uh.
But I did other things, and what I found is that I didn't do anything that I organically didn't do automatically. Some that you're
Yeah.
thinking of doing, and you haven't done it yet.
Uh-huh.
When it habituates, all at once you'll find yourself in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And you would not have thought of it at all. That is habituation.
Yeah, it's those are the moments when you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that.
And you've been
just
thinking
got that
about
done.
it, but got quite ready, and then one day...
I've been trying to do that for a year, and look at it. All of a sudden, it was so easy. It just happened.
Actually, that's the secret.
That's organic habituation.
When you do habituation, when you do one habituation, it actually threads a lot of habituations that you've been trying to do that you couldn't.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't do those habituations because you were not ready to let go of the old pattern of have to.
Yeah.
Or the ways that the world said this is only going to happen if you do it this way.
Yeah.
And then all at once you break down that what's in the way, it's not only you break down what's in the way for that habituation, but that's been in the way for a lot of habituations. And then you find that's where the ease comes. All at once you find things that people are working and knocking their heads in to do. All at once you're doing it with ease.
Yeah.
You're not even thinking about it.
Easier.
Because everything that is really right, you don't have to think about.
Yeah.
That's why we constantly are trying to come out of the mind and go more into the heart and go more into our own organic rhythm.
Yeah.
Because habituation is not, it's not a thought pattern of figuring. It's not the mind figuring.
Yeah.
It's the body, mind, and heart emulating. Did you say that?
Yeah. That's a good place to come to with this talk. I like that. That is
Thanks,
just
honey.
so
I know
sweet.
I got kind of carried away.
No. That's
Piece of
exactly.
room here.
Oh no. I just think that is just wonderful. I just stopped so you could hear the seagulls. Yeah, so it's a beautiful day. We're talking about habituation. We're so glad that you stopped by.
We've got about 10 minutes more. We go to 30 minutes.
Okay, so that we can, let's see, what else where are we tuning into now with this?
Well, the habituation is like widening. It was real narrow at first.
Uh-huh.
A few little things, and then, and you almost don't believe in it. You think, oh God, this is the dumbest thing. I need to get back up and get going. What
get
is it?
Busy.
Some kind of big excuse?
Yeah, get busy.
And boy, no way.
Uh-uh.
If I try to do that, I get laid back down again.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened to the world. The world, when it starts trying to come out of the organic habituation, gets laid back down again.
Yeah. So it's a global, rhythmic
I wouldn't be
unfoldment
surprised if
that's
it
happening
isn't
right
a
now.
galactic,
Yeah, really,
universal,
truly.
and
resonance
that's
happening.
It
and
doesn't.
We're responding
Our world
to.
is not just a place to be watched.
No.
It's actually a place that's a pattern setting.
Uh-huh.
We work through hard patterns here, and then we set them up.
Yep.
And then that makes it easier for it galactically to set up because it's been physically taken apart. But this world now is starting to come into habituation, which in habituation there's an ability to become imprintio. That you could actually take in information, imprint it in as pattern, and that's what our patterns are waiting for.
Yeah.
And this is when the body comes to the body zero patterns, the body at 0 point. When the body comes to 0 point, then it's ready to begin to habituate.
Yeah, and we want to invite you to take the time, since you are here at Circular Codex and are listening to this, to take the time after this, if you've got a moment or two, to go over to the mycelial healing patterns.
And habituate.
And
those are the patterns
Yep.
that will enable you to habituate.
And just select through them intuitively. You can pick out one
Yeah.
You can pick out 10. You can pick out one from one of the decks. You can pick out one from another. You can pick out 3 from one and 2 from another. Just whatever combination feels right to you in the moment. And you can come back to them day after day if
Or
you
you can
like.
sit and imprint them all.
Or, yeah, imprint
You
them
have
all.
an archive
We had Tibetan
that will
monks
habituate itself.
that have done that, where they wanted to see all of the imprints, and they sat there and imprinted almost 800 of them. So it just
that was
depends
so
on what your
sweet.
desire is and how you want it to unfold for yourself. So
The patterns
that's
that
an offer there.
have taken in from our website and from our work over the years, those patterns are part of your archive.
Yeah.
And if you've done it years and years ago, those patterns are moving you into a really easy habituation. And because they've been working with you in your field for a long time, those that are just now using it, because of those that have done it before, the whole system works faster. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's another nice layer. We're just kind of unpeeling this.
Yeah.
And for ourselves, what we're doing is we're having these conversations so that we explore more and come into a greater understanding of what we want to be able to express. And so as we share this with each other, we're recording it so that we can share it out to other people too, because it feeds us, and we know that if it's feeding us, it's bound to feed other people as well.
Well, it's like a small meal, more frequent, that your body can actually assimilate so it can habituate it.
Yeah.
If it just depends on the timing, but these are nice broken down portions of thought patterns that you can habituate with in your own speed.
Well, that was lovely. I think that's good.
Yeah, I love that.
Me too. Well, thank you.
Thank you to everyone.
We're here
Thank you.
at the ocean, having another tabletop theater conversation, and I'm so glad that you joined us, and we hope that you do so again. And
we're our own puppet show.
We are our own puppet show. We are our own characters.
We made a board for the tabletop theater, and we put all this puppetry and everything on it, and mask making and everything.
And it turns out here we are the characters in our own play. That's pretty cool. So if you find that you've enjoyed this and it's fed you, then and you know the friends and family you have that might enjoy such a thing, then please share it.
Give them a bite.
Yeah, give them a bite of a new meal. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
That was good.